Здравствуйте, уважаемые зрители! По ту сторону экрана ликтор, на часах примерно 4:22, и мы продолжаем проходить игру Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition. И по факту нам действительно осталось не так уж и много. Если я правильно понял, нас ожидает только одна полноценно новая интересная концовка. Огромное количество путешествий с ним. И, разумеется, что-то связанное с тем, когда мы найдем все коллектаблсы до последнего, что мы сделаем под самый финал. Поехали.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Чудесные шарики.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Не выключили, как всегда. Не выключили, как всегда. Ну что ж, дорогие мои товарищи и товарищицы. Почему здесь периодически то есть эта штука, то нет? Я клянусь, что ее то не было, то нет. Короче, давайте начнем с чего-то ужасного, чего-то жестокого.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Давайте все испортим. Погнали. На самом деле, мне немножко жалко, что мы так и не сможем, получается, теперь уже никогда проверить одну вещь в новом контенте, потому что была там одна штукенция, которую я хотел бы... Ну да ладно.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Мы туда и пойдем. Ведро указывает нам путь, и мы следуем его воле. Погнали. Да. Так, некоторые из этих мест я знаю. И синий, и красное сразу. Это вот там, где выбор между красной и синей дверью. А вот у камина я тоже знаю. Это, собственно говоря, в кабинете босса.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Да-да, именно туда Стэнли и направился. Но перед этим зашел в туалет. Потому что почему бы нет? Забавно, что люди видели эти самые штуковины. Не, здесь закрыто. Так, ну-ка давай-ка мы с тобой... Я так и не понял, как у меня тогда игра лаганула, что я оказался за дверью. Я думал, что это, как, так сказать, не баг от фича. Вспомнить бы код. Ладно.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Какой же все-таки здесь код? Может быть, все-таки спустя столько времени мы найдем что-нибудь, чего раньше не находили. Дверь не открывается, надо как...
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Давай же, диктор. Когда у тебя сдадут нервы? Не при ведре же. Какая чудесная карта.
2845.
I don't know. I don't know, I don't know, don't know. Давай же.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Ну да. Мы все прекрасно знаем, что это произошло исключительно благодаря тому, что у нас сегодня в руках ведро.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler anarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler anarines. None of us can.
Будущее останется в прошлом. Кстати, стоп. Что-то с настройками яркости случилось, или у меня наконец-то протерся монитор, но я в кои-то веки вижу здесь конец. Вот здесь вот стенка. Не знаю, видите ли вы, но я вижу. Давайте будем держать это в уме. Идем же вниз. Нас ждет комната управления сознанием. Точнее, простите, нас ждет офигенно страшный секрет, который скрывает от нас начальство. Мы будем пытаться сделать одну прикольную вещь. Прикольную.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
О нет, только не в этот раз. Я не стану вас тешить напрасными иллюзиями, в этот раз мы умрем.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Да-да, именно так. Мы сейчас попробуем сделать одну интересную штуку, а именно найти... Понятно. Найти здесь выход. Мне опять же подсказали, любезно. Да, понятно.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Так, ладно, серьезно, подожди. Неужели это так просто? Или тут есть какой-то прикол? Кстати, по-моему, что-то с графикой ведра. Ладно, секунду. А на кнопку не... Подожди, может на кнопку еще раз можно нажать? Нет. Почему что да? Огромное количество мониторов. Мониторы везде. Кнопкин.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Мне писали, что вроде как можно вернуться туда. Вон туда вот. Только как? Сейчас, ну-ка. О, слушай, а может быть это оно? Сейчас мы, если мы сделаем это, то мы молодцы. Если мы не сделаем это, то мы проиграли. Такие, оп. Оп. И я загнал себя в ловушку. Поздравляю себя. Я загнал себя в настоящую ловушку. Отсюда нет выхода. Черт. Я-то думал, что я сейчас такой хитрый проскочу. Хотя, чисто в теории я бы мог продолжить скакать по этой штуке. Ну, идти по перилам. Хотя нет, тут вот эти вот вроде их нельзя обойти. Грусть, печаль. Ладно. Сейчас, момент. Чисто в теории, смотрите, мы можем пробраться. Но вот тут нам мешает эта штука, и мы так или иначе падаем. Значит, нет, значит, по-другому никак.
The monitors jumped to life, and
Ладно.
Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Так, и здесь?
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Где же...
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept
No!
it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Знаете, мне любопытно одно.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Или нет? Но что если? Что если? Не, на самом деле мне просто любопытно, кто придумал идею ведра? Это гениально, черт его раздери, но... А что если ведро злодей?
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
О, какая прелесть. Летающая птичка. С расправленными крыльями или нет? Расправим же крылья, друзья мои. Полетели.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
О, какая чудесная концовка. Как это мило. Центр управления наблюдения за птичками. Ну ладно. Это, конечно, все очень мило и здорово.
What could it mean?
Stanley
decided to go to the meeting
сюда, старина.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Бакс, ты смотрел за птицами? На самом деле это ведь так просто. Их бесконечное щебетание, их простые трели, их странное, иногда нелогичное поведение. Это же так мило. Так просто. Так понятно. Хм. Я бы хотел быть орнитологом, купить себе бинокль, записную книжку и ходить по улицам, ну, по природе, наблюдать за птичками. Как мило. Какой чудесный конец. Мне нравится. Но меня заинтересовал другой. Сейчас, мы быстренько.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Забавно, что хорошая концовка с ведром становится условно плохой, что мы там как бы, мы плохо запираемся, нас не пускают. А плохая концовка, наоборот, становится хорошей. Это, по-моему, довольно-таки забавно.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Так, давай-ка попробуем сделать тот самый прикол. Хотя нет.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the
Диктор даже не торопится. Ладно, окей, я не спорю. Так вот, мы увидели там нечто. Я залез на стул и мог упасть вниз. А что если я реально упаду вниз? Это вот та самая вещь, которую мне подсказали, за что в очередной раз, как я понял уже, наверное, одному из моих постоянных зрителей, спасибо. Это было достаточно любезно.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read,
еще туда, кстати, стоит с тобой, да, приятель. Давай же сделаем правильные вещи. Включим мониторы.
On an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
Забегая немножко вперед, я думаю, что лучше сначала посмотреть эту концовку в оригинале без ведра, а потом уже с ведром. Да, я могу себе это позволить.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours, so here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. Railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
А теперь вернемся к версии с ведром. Вперед.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall.
Спасибо, Ведро.
Now, what to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility.
Верно.
This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning.
О, Стэнли.
It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Окей. Так, с этим мы разобрались. Действительно интересный новый вариант. Ну, я не знал, что это был баг. Ну, собственно говоря...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Это забавно, что баг становится фичей. Это здорово, это классно. Так и должно быть зачастую. Если что-то вот настолько вирусится, настолько сильно становится популярным и так далее. Ладно. После этого я официально заявляю, что теперь мы получили все концовки Stanley Parable. Кроме одной. Кроме концовки 4 часов играния в игру с младенцем. Ребят, я искренне прошу вас прощения, но я не стану этого делать. Не потому, что я слабый, и не потому, что я не могу написать какой-нибудь, я не знаю, скрипт, который заставит меня просто стоять и нажимать на кнопку 4 часа. Я просто не хочу... Может быть, когда-нибудь, если мне будет лень, я загуглю, что там происходит, но... Как бы мне не хотелось показать им вообще весь контент, что есть в этой игре, но вот по типу вот, блин... Там же реально проходил Стэнли. Вы помните? Это было... страшно. Реально страшно. Ну так вот, я не смогу. Я просто не смогу. Хотя, кто знает. Итак.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Туда же, куда и каждый вечер, Ведро. Попробуем захватить мир. Пум-пум-пум-пум. Вот Стэнли, вот и Ведро. Вот Стэнли, вот и Ведро. И если Стэнли не гений, то Ведро это просто Ведро. Хоть смейся ты, хоть плачь. Мозги завесил врач. И Стэнли... Черт, у меня не хватает придумки? Что? Может, кстати... Какую бы рифму знает придумать? Подожди, стоп. Разве... Здесь не должна быть комната с 2 дверями? Что это? Меня клинит? Куда мы попали? Этого же не было. Я ж не сумасшедший, это ведь... Короче...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Давайте пройдемся по остальным концовкам, а закончим на коллектаблсах. Лады? Лады. С той стороны нас ждет концовка в музее. Нет, давайте пойдем в другую сторону.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Мне кажется, ведро — это универсальная отмазка. Типа, ведром можно написать любую выходку Стэнли.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself.
Налили в
Yes,
ведро.
perhaps it truly
Можно пить из
was.
ведра.
How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Да, но недолго.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Не угадали. Пойдемте-ка позвоним по телефону.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Так давайте же пойдем. Почему бы нет?
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Yes, I reached the command of the bucket. Не знаю, для меня всегда ведро — это шутка из Team Fortress, а точнее ролика...
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Так вот, где в одном из самых последних, и достаточно очень классных, по-моему, одном. Они все прекрасны, но вот одном из самых классных роликов по Team Fortress была консилиум всех наемников, где шпион ставил на стол ведро и такой «This is a bucket». Солдат в своей привычной манере отвечает такой «Dear God, there's more», отвечал шпион. «No», говорил солдат. «It contains the dying wish of everyone in this room. Scout, do you collect all the dying wish? You got them. Excellent. Gentlemen, synchronize our death watches». Ай, неважно. Так они не выпустили русскую локализацию, но я помню. Пойдемте же в темную комнату, узнаем, что ведро приготовило для нас.
Now pick up the phone,
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Алло? Кто там?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Минуточку. Но я, по крайней мере, попытался. Где моя металлическая жена? Здравствуй, милая. Привет, Стэнли. Это я, Ведро. Нажми У, чтобы взять меня на работу. Дорогая, а где... О, Бакс! И ты тут, старина. Ты в гости пришел? Я знал, что ты меня не бросишь. Всегда приятно, когда друг приходит к тебе в гости. Какое чудесное время. Ничего тут нет. Нет.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Странно. О, привет, Бакс. Какой сегодня чудесный рабочий день. Как-то солнечно, не находишь? Как-то... Черт, нельзя вылезти в окно. А жаль, было бы прикольно. О, Ведро! Здорово! Нажми V, чтобы взять меня домой. Так мы же только что оттуда пришли, дорогая. Ладно.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Кошмар. Дорогая, где ты? Дорогая? А, вот ты где. Фух, я потерял тебя. Мне было страшно, я испугался. О, джазовая музыка. Неважно. Как у тебя сегодня дела, дорогая? Чтобы взять меня снова на работу. Ну почему нет? Можно и на работу.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Вы что-нибудь слышали? Бакс, ты что-нибудь слышал? Я слышу только какой-то странный шум. Как будто что-то пытается говорить, но ничего толком не слышу. Привет, дорогая. Не слушай громкого человека и нажми Т, чтобы мы пошли домой. Какого человека, дорогая? О чем ты говоришь? Всегда приятно, когда же ты ждешь меня на работе. Пойдем домой.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Он ревнует. Диктор ревнует. Привет, дорогая. Какой сегодня чудесный вечер. Тебе не кажется? Чтобы игнорировать всех, кроме меня. Конечно, дорогая. Мне больше никто не нужен. Только ты и я. Против всего мира. Чудесная идея, не правда ли?
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Дорогая, ты ведь веришь, что я существую, Стэнли? Нажми, чтобы вернуться домой. Конечно, ты существуешь. Я же держу тебя в руках, дорогая. Я крепко прижимаюсь к твоему холодному, приятному корпусу. Только почему-то мне больше никто не выдает команд там кнопочки нажимать. Но это не важно, ведь у меня есть ты, мое дорогое, любимое ведро.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Какая интересная передача. Чудесная картина. Кстати, помните, я как-то несколько серий назад, еще когда мы только-только пришли в Stanley Con, я спросил, как думаете, почему ведра делают суженными к низу и расширяющимися кверху? Так вот, ответ, который я получил в свое время на математическом кружке, не то что меня убил, но показался мне достаточно забавными. Готовы? Их делают такой формы, чтобы при транспортировке можно было поставить одно ведро в другое сверху. Такой вжук. Их банально проще так переносить. Вот и все. Нажми J, чтобы снова и снова проживать этот день со мной. Ради тебя, дорогая. Целую вечность.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Потому что это правда. Нажми, чтобы пойти домой. На работу, домой, на работу, домой.
Oh, no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Конечно. Дорогая, сегодня в день нашей годовщины Мы вместе ляжем в кровать, обнимемся и скажем друг другу все прекрасное, о чем думаем.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Возвращайся на работу, Стэнли. Опять Джим из бухгалтерии распечатал хреновую тучу бумажек.
What could it mean?
Джим
Stanley
из
decided to go to the
бухгалтерии.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Пойдем
A
со мной.
good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Это именно оно. Давайте же пойдем теперь в другую дверь. Ну, захватим парочку концовок туда-сюда. Я думаю, еще одну или две, и можно будет на сегодня закончить.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Верно. Туда мы и направились. Все правильно же, осталось последнее. Так точно. Осталось последнее. Давайте снизу...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Сейчас мы сделаем вот что. Попробуем вызвать тот самый баг, когда я застрял в дверях и не смог пройти. Сейчас.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again
Черт.
stunned to
Как же это
discover not an
получается?
indication of any human life.
Ну ладно.
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
Забавно, кстати, что если у тебя в руках ведро, то диктор не заставляет тебя слушать джазовую музыку.
Yes,
Но, к
this is
великому
certainly the
счастью,
most logical explanation.
к великому счастью, у нас есть еще пара концовок прямо здесь, которые мы можем пережить. И одна из них — Ведро. Отправишься ли ты сегодня со мной на сцену? Я думаю, это будет чудесно. Давай отправимся на сцену, Ведро. Ты расскажешь о истории нарративного повествования. Я думаю, диктор все это повернет в твою пользу. Я искренне в это верю. Давай мы так и сделаем с тобой. Ты и я на сцену. Пошли.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Наверное, оно что-то знает. Оно точно что-то знает. Мое любимое ведро. Мое прекрасное ведро. Давай нажмем цифру 3. О, нет. Та самая цифра 3.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Я бы, кстати, больше долбил по кнопке номер 2. Обожаю цифру 2. Ну, я думаю, вы уже догадались. Угадайте, какую еще цифру я очень сильно люблю. С цифрой 3 наигрались. Пойдем дальше.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Цифра 3 максимально особая цифра. На самом деле, без шуток, ведь цифра 3 по франшизе означает, что франшиза живет. Трилогия. Все же знают это слово. Зачастую никто не говорит квадрология. Все говорят именно трилогия. Все знают слово сиквел. Но трилогия. куда важнее.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
А вот это сейчас начинается какая-то очень грустная тема. Мне не хочется, чтобы она привела к тому, о чем я думаю. Очередная глубокая высокомысленная идея о том, что нельзя бездумно тащить свою вторую половинку и заставлять ее проживать то, что тебе кажется отличным и классным. Ведь вполне может возникнуть такая ситуация, что она не разделит всех твоих интересов с тобой. Она не обязана, она не должна делить с тобой все. Найти вторую половинку, да, Ведро? Это не значит найти кого-то, кто поддержит тебя абсолютно и идеальнейше во всем. Мы не можем быть такими, это невозможно. Нету двух одинаковых звезд на небе. Они могут быть похожи. Очень похожи. Невероятно похожи. Но что-то у них всегда будет свое. И эти различия как бы и делают нас подходящими. На самом-то деле. Это что-то свое, что-то интересное. Так что вот то, к чему мы идем, мне не нравится.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Aww.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Какая грустная история. Какая грустная история.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work.
Пригласите на эту конференцию Гейба Ньюэлла,
For
пожалуйста.
months he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Верно. Чудесно. Приведите сюда Габена, пожалуйста. Обязательно.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Давайте уже сделаем это. Поднимемся на сцену и расскажем о цифре 3. Вы готовы? Поехали.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak. to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Офигеть.
All of his co-workers
Я на
were...
такой ноте заканчивать не стану.
No, this isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Этот да, предыдущий точно не был.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Так, Виктор.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered
Мне
the
не
door on
понравилось.
his left.
Как-то уж очень грустно. Прям совсем-совсем.
This was not the direct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Это как-то совсем грустно, ребят. Ну, блин. Такая кардинальная разница из разряда быть любимым публикой, ожидать и...
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
Да.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Туда, кстати, тоже сходим. Ну, короче, не, ребят, знаете, не. Давайте...
No,
said the bucket.
Пусть ведро поведет нас. Давайте оно поговорит с нами.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
И мы не послушаем его.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Да.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this
Интересно, туда
obvious
можно с ведром
fact.
пробраться?
He was firmly
Ну,
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Yes. Вперед. Подчинимся же ведру. Для начала.
Now pick up the phone,
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
А если я скажу нет? А?
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk.
It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Ugh.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me serious. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
О. Давай.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
Эту инструкцию рисовала нейросеть?
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Во имя и во славу. Да будет
Hey,
так.
goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Жги. Поехали. Вот и шуточки. Еще нифига не конец. Сейчас, подожди. Мы откатимся назад, и ты скажешь нам свою шутку, Виктор. Давай, у тебя получится.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
А, фу. Мне показалось, что это тот синий проход из начала. Ведро. Говорящее ведро. Что может быть забавнее? Серьезно, кто придумал идею с ведром? Вот кто этот гений?
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Что, простите?
What? We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video.
Не надо,
again.
пожалуйста.
Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Нет. Стоп.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Мне чисто любопытно. Он опять скажет то же самое?
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Пойдем, опрать. Давай, пойдем, узнаем.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Все, окей. Я верю.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Так, пойдем.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on, all because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a... Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Господи.
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame.
Все, я понял шутку. Рассказывать шутку абсолютно немому и глухому зрителю. Вот это смешно.
No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket because the whole
это ведро.
point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Ну вот, так как-то получше. Это вообще какая-то чернуха. Все. Ладно.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Мне и надо оставаться там, чтобы быть не одиноким. Что? Что это звук? Странно. Ну да ладно. Короче, осталось совсем немного. Что-то мне подсказывает, что вполне вероятно следующая серия может стать последней. Но тем не менее она будет. И именно в ней мы с вами и увидимся. Пока. С вами по ту сторону экрана был Ликтор. До свидания.